the denuclearization of Iran is moving along well. They've had very good meetings, and we'll see.
He's just erratic, and that's no way to be in charge, to try to make sure that you come to a diplomatic resolution here. So I don't know. I think the president might be just over his head on this matter.
Well, right now, the technical negotiators are sitting down with the Iranians, with the Qataris, and with others in Doha, you know, talking about some of the details here.
The Iran talks continuing in Doha, Qatar. Reuters saying sources say the negotiators for the two countries spent 2 days in Doha discussing maritime traffic in the Strait of Hormuz and financial incentives for Iran, two pillars of the initial agreement they signed in June, rather than more difficult topics that the framework was supposed to tee up. New York Times saying that the delegation's meeting would focus on carrying out the terms of the preliminary agreement, including the release of frozen Iranian assets held overseas. Tehran had insisted that no meeting with American officials had been scheduled at any level. They are meeting. However, let's start there about Iran with our panel. Roger Zakheim is a Washington director of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute, Fox News senior political analyst Juan Williams, and USA Today White House correspondent Francesca Chambers. You know, Francesca, the president continues to express optimism about how these talks are going, but we have heard that for a number of days. And you wonder if the ball is being advanced here in those talks in Doha.
Well, and of course, we saw over the weekend that the U.S. and Iran exchanged strikes, the U.S. saying it was retaliating for drones hitting commercial ships in the Strait of Hormuz. But we've seen that too, right? This is the way that the flow of how things have been going, right? It's that we'll see these attacks, and then the president will threaten Iran, and then they'll go back to the negotiating table. I mean, largely, I think that's part of the White House's negotiating strategy right now, is to try and get Iran to the table by threatening them militarily. We'll end up seeing what happens.
Yeah. Here's Vice President Vance on whether the U.S. could be back engaged in the war.
Do you commit that the U.S. won't return to full-fledged combat operations before the 60-day clock at the end is up?
Well, I can't commit to anything because obviously it depends on what the Iranians are ultimately going to do. As I said up there, what I can commit to is the president's not going to send our military back in unless he has to.
And the thing, Juan, that it seems the administration is watching closely are crude oil prices. And if you look at the oil prices now, they've dropped to 68. The president seems to mention that every time he talks about Iran.
I think that is one of the keys for the president, because this is a politically unpopular war. And the idea of going back in is unappetizing because it would drive oil prices back up again, to your point. I think the larger point here is that the negotiations at this point feel a little bit like Groundhog Day. The president says, oh, you know, we're negotiating, we're getting closer, and then a few days later, as Francesca pointed out, there's an attack, or the president says it's not going well. It seems to me like, you know, it's kind of this broken wheel. They still have the same regime. They still have the nukes. We have high gas prices. But I do think, as I'm listening, and based on the reporting that we've both been reading, you know, it seems like the parameters of the deal will allow Iran to profit in a way that they had not been profiting before. And it's striking that so much of it seems like Obama's deal, which Trump had derided and said he would never get involved.
Obviously, the administration pushes back on that. They say the framework of this is different than the Obama deal. But, Roger, your thoughts?
Well, one, I think the president's getting his immediate objective. National oil prices, price of the gallon is under $4. People were worried it would be over $5 this time. So he's won on that. I disagree with Ron. This is not the JCPOA because of Operation Epic Fury. I mean, this is a diminished regime. They're a weakened regime, which, by the way, the American people are very supportive of, to the tune of over 60% based on our last survey. But the last thing I'd say, it's really a discussion around factions. There are factions on the Iranian side post-decapitation. Some want to close the straits. That's the most radical elements. Others want to get the cash coming in. On the U.S. side, you have people like Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio, and Director Radcliffe, who would like to get back into the fight based on recent reporting, and they're kind of questioning whether or not negotiations are going to lead anywhere.
Meantime, Democratic Socialists continue to win in these primaries across the country. Here is Democratic Socialist Milad Kiros in Colorado taking out a long-term Democratic Congresswoman.
This is where the party has always been. And instead of waiting our turn, instead of asking for permission, we are going to take the power back.
Right now, what matters more than anything is, are you a street fighter? How far are you willing to go to fight this administration, to fight for democracy, to fight for your constituents. That's what people want.
Francesca, as the party kind of deals with this and how to talk about it, what you're noticing in these primaries is that it's not even close, that some of these incumbents are not even close to winning.
And now after we've seen Colorado, now we know that this is a wave. We know that this is an anti-establishment wave that's taking place in the Democratic Party right now, and to a certain extent in the Republican Party as well. But I think prior to this, right, there had still been a question of whether or not this was limited to New York, and now it's definitive that it's not.
Yeah. Juan?
Well, I think the key for me is I watch the politics intently, and boy, these Democratic socialists are terrifically effective on the ground operations turnout, and turnout is going to be key in the midterms. And they have just been tremendously effective. You look at the messaging is, have you been effective against Trump? Have you been effective against ICE? Have you been effective in arguing that Israel is overly aggressive? And have you been effective in terms of saying that the affordability in this country is out of hand? So on all those bases, they have gone in and they have been into deep blue districts. I mean, the district Colorado 1 that, was turned over last night. Harris won that by 58 points. So it's not that it's happening everywhere. It's happening in deep blue districts, and they have an effective message.
Speaking of Harris, Kamala Harris reaches out to Socialist Mayor Mamdani, and the latest sign she's shoring up support for possible 2028 bid. RNC jumped all over that, Roger.
As they should. I mean, Democrats have a decision to make. Are they going to go ahead and make peace with Democratic socialists, or are they going to go ahead and counter them? There are 13 Democratic members of the House of Representatives that signed a letter challenging Democratic socialists. That's not exactly profiles and courage there. That's less than 10% of Democrats in the House. And what we saw out of Colorado run with Quiros here, I mean, she's confused. She said this about why calling for the elimination of Israel is considered anti-Semitic. A related story, she couldn't call out anti-Semitism for the firebomb and the attack in Boulder, Colorado. This is the common sense that's lost in the Democratic Party, and if Kamala Harris can make peace with them, they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Fred, as someone who covered Kamala Harris in the 2024 election, this was a major weak point for her, so I'm not surprised to see that she's trying to do the work ahead of a potential 2028 bid.
All right, we'll watch it. Thanks, panel.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.